Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic, and this video is going to be a healing demonstration in regards to timelines. Okay, the way that we see timelines here at Truly Holistic is very much in regards to, we could swap the word timeline out and use the word path. We could use the word journey. We could also use the word future. It's this knowing that in every moment there is infinite possibility of what direction you could go in. Okay, at Truly Holistic, we like to emphasize working on the origin or the core of everything. This is what I'm very proud of about what we facilitate at Truly Holistic, is that it's very much based on understanding reality. Okay, because if our goal is to understand reality, we can then learn universal laws and principles in regards to how reality is formed and created. And out of that process, we have found that there is not a reality or one reality. We are all forging our own reality. Okay? And each one of us, not at the human level, but at our authentic level as a soul, as a consciousness, our role here is to be a creator of reality. Not a participant, not to be an observer of reality, but a creator of reality. In fact, quantum physicists are already mentioning the fact that for reality to be here, it requires an observer. Why? Through that mechanism of observing reality, using your place of attention, you are in fact creating that reality. Okay? So one thing that we really focus on a lot here at Truly Holistic is the two things that then create that reality, right? Which is really providing a state that everything within that state and environment will be affected by, which includes the body. Okay, so this is the precursor of the state that then will affect how the body expresses itself, how it works, how it functions. And that is through our attention and through our intention. Okay? And when I really delve deep into, okay, if life is a matter of moments, from moment to moment to moment, and there's infinite moments in a lifetime, what do we know that is bound to every moment? And what we came up was where we place our attention, how we use our intention. They may seem very little things at the human level, and again, at the human level, we like to overcomplicate things, and we kind of don't see really the baseline of all creation completely at its origin. We really focus on superficial things as the human. And again, healing is very much on is keeping things simple. And that's definitely something that we really forge forward when we are working with clients and sessions here at Truly Holistic with that foundation of understanding reality. Okay? And in every moment, we have a choice of where we're going to place our attention, how we're going to use our intention. And if you're someone that is very mind-oriented, which means lacking self-awareness or awareness of self, of attention, you might think that you wouldn't see that as a choice, attention and intention. Now, that choice of attention and intention from moment to moment is providing what's possible at that moment, right? You're providing that experience that is going to become your future experience. It's like you are formulating and creating those stepping stones that is going to be the path that you walk upon as that path, as that future, as that timeline. And so it's up to you. It's your choices. So to make better choices, what do we require? Better awareness, which is really the definition of the word consciousness. Okay? And consciousness is not in the brain. It's nothing to do with the mind. Read an article of quantum physicists, and they're talking about, yes, consciousness is in the brain, but in the same article they mentioned that the brain is always trying to predetermine and preconceive what is next. Now, when we look at that, right, the brain trying to predetermine, it's a computer that's always predetermining what's next, what's around the corner. where's our focus on? Is it on the present or what's around the corner, right? It's around the corner. It's not being present and aware in that moment, which means it's not the definition of consciousness, is it? Because consciousness is not about being aware about what's around the corner. It's about being aware of what is in that moment, right? So, there were so many flaws in the article. It's incredible that they couldn't perceive that or see that, right? So coming back to timelines, right? You're formulating this timeline by the choices you make in the now, in the moment. And we know that everything that has been created is done in the now, done in the infinite now, done in the moment. But as the human, we emphasize the importance of going back to the past, going ahead towards the future, which then naturally removes our awareness on the only time where our awareness should be presented, because that's where we are going to make decisions and choices into creation itself, that experience that we are going to experience. Okay. So what I'm going to do is a free demonstration. This is a clearing we do for people in sessions about resetting someone's timeline. And you must understand that when we make that choice of where we place our attention, how we use our intention, that is an output of our own energy. Okay, because as I say, there's not one reality or a reality, that's our own reality. Right? And there is a sacred timeline. Now, what my higher consciousness deems as a sacred timeline is a path or a journey that is guided for you to create and then walk upon, that is fully in alignment with you and in the highest good for you, right? Which is that our outcome at the end of it is what we call ascension. Okay, it's the highest good for you. It's that path, that journey you were destined to create and then walk upon. Okay, not walk upon, but create and walk upon. Okay. Now, what's your guide to provide that? Your home. And your home is your heart. It's not up here. It's here. Okay. We came into life when we were conceived and the embryos formed. It's not until the heart's formed is when the soul comes through the heart to be one with the vessel, which we call the human body, right? And if we go to the other end of that spectrum of life, is how do we know someone has passed away, someone has died? When the heart stops beating. Okay. And that's when our soul leaves back out the heart. Okay, so we know that our home, our authenticity of us as an infinite consciousness, an infinite energy, is the heart. But between that time when we're born, when we come through as the soul, when we leave through the heart, again, through the heart as the soul, we are continuously conditioned and taught to live our life up here and away from our authenticity here. Okay? So our guide to providing our sacred timeline, that path that is destined and to be in alignment as ourselves as a creator and facilitator of our own ascension, is our heart, because that's where our soul, our consciousness comes from. Our heart is a veil between worlds. Okay, because we're multidimensional. Our energy signature, which is our soul, is bound between a multitude of realities. That's why we call ourselves multidimensional. Okay. So when we are here and our awarenesses and our heart is leading our experience, not only as a guide in the way that we're going to create, but also providing that direction, but also the instruction of all the processes that are occurring in our body in every moment, millions of processes, is all bound to that significant goal of ascension, right? So why do we want that then instead of us as the human making the decisions? Because our soul is us to begin with. It's not something external to us. It is us. It's an evolved version of ourselves that is not bound to limitation like we are as the human. Now we know with our visual eyesight, we see that. We see less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum of light. We know that we are kind of conditioned to this measurement that we created as a human called time, that we walk one step ahead of the other. Now our soul's not bound to any of that, so it sees the bigger picture, right? So it's our best guide, and it's going to make the best decision for ourselves, because if it was to make a rash decision or a bad decision, it's making a bad decision for itself, because you as the human and the soul, you're the same thing, right? It would never harm itself, okay? So that it's going to guide us, but not through thought, but through feel, which is our innate guidance. We were adopted to take on thought. Thought's not our innate way of guidance. We've been so dependent on thought that really, for me, that is the core of all illness, disease, and all problems that is bound to humanity, is thought, the process of thought. So what happens then if, let's say, we veer off that sacred timeline? Okay, which this clearing is going to be about restoring that timeline. We remove and we cut the branches off, those branch timelines that are leading you onto a path to an outcome that is not in the highest good for you. Now that's when something else is guiding and directing your creative ability, and therefore then walking on that path that is not coming from here, it's coming from here. Okay. Now you've got two pathways. Okay. Thought, feel. Heart is feel. Thought is mind, brain. Okay. We've been taught and conditioned to really predominantly use thought. Right? We've been conditioned to think, okay, if we get into trouble, we've got to think our way out of it. We put people on pedestals to say they're geniuses and they're intelligent because of the way they think. But we see every day and day humans making decisions based on thinking. So-called geniuses that are providing technology that is not sustainable. For me, that's not intelligent at all. Okay? Why would you provide something that is then just destroying everything at the same time or creating more problems? Okay. That connects to Albert Einstein's theory of insanity, right? Or definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's what we're continuously doing as the human. Okay. So with our intelligences that are being facilitated through the mind, because again, the mind's a doorway just like the heart's a doorway. The heart's a doorway to you, but the mind's a doorway to something else. It's not you. Okay, and Eckhart Tolle, I saw a comment the other day where he said, thoughts are not you. And I was like, yes, exactly. Thoughts are not us. Okay. Whatever is guiding us and directing us through thought, okay, it's an intelligence that is not providing the best representation of you. This is where the destructive aspect of humanity comes from. Okay, it's not authentically you, because the human is a vessel for an intelligence to interface, to facilitate its will through you. Okay, so when we're up here and it's directing us the way that we create and we walk on, we create branch timelines that veer off the track of our sacred timeline, what's in your alignment and the highest good for you. Creating pathways that is using your own energy to facilitate an outcome that is not going to be in alignment with you and is not going to provide an outcome that is the highest good for you. It's the highest good for the intelligence that's using you, but not you. Okay? So this clearing is all about retracting that, so you remove your energy, your investment of energy, your hard-working energy, from facilitating those paths that are not in alignment for you, to put them all back on that one pathway, because that's all you require. You only require one-time pathway for you to ascend. Now, the common, regular instruction I get from our higher consciousness of the reason why we have failed so many times to ascend, the many times we've been here as the human, is one reason. Because we have adopted and we continue to use a process of thought and not feel. Okay? So let's do the clearing. Okay, now I've got, before I mention about this, you can obviously this is going to reset your timeline, right? Get you back on line of what's right for you, what's in alignment for you, what is the highest good for you. If you are somebody that is very empowered and enlightened to do your own work, we've got a manifestation tensor trio set that is a recent tool set we've created that is on my product page on my website, trudyholistic.net/products. There are 3 rings that you can utilize every day to reset this timeline if you would rather do it that way. But this will also assist and help you. Okay, so let's get into the clearing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the clearing and what each component of it, because everything we do at Truly Holistic, we just don't do things on a whim. Everything has purpose behind it. Okay, because that's what life should be. We don't just live life to observe. We live life to observe and have the insight to fully understand and know what it represents, which provides wisdom. So we turn information into wisdom. That's what we're here to do. Now, the clearing is as follows. Now, we use hydrogen to create a levitational response to all timelines. So what we're really referencing there is those branch timelines, those ones we want to retract and remove, just like we're trimming off the branches, right? And that sacred timeline is that trunk, okay? Now, what we mean by hydrogen, okay? Now, if we break the word hydrogen into 2 components, hydro, which means water, gen could mean generator or genesis of water. So we know that the genesis of anything that's in its physical being form here is consciousness. Okay, because everything is at the core is energy. So what that stands for is the consciousness of water. So hydrogen is the consciousness of water. Now, what element of water also teaches us, and that element of water is connected to us as a source of energy, is flow. Okay, and this is a very key word. Flow is everything. Because what we find is every physiological function of our body, whether that's our circulatory system in regards to blood, lymphatic system in regards to lymph fluid, neurons communicating through the nervous system, digestive system from food going from one end of the tube to the other, urinary system, every system, what it depends on to remain in a wellness or vital state is to flow. Flow. Okay. When we get into trouble, what provides illness is a state of congestion, which is the opposite of flow, either blockage, obstruction, or congestion. So flow is essential. And that's directly connected to the way that you go about your life. You know, hey, people go, hey, Chris, you need to go with the flow. And what is that? The definition of going with the flow is fully being self-aware in that moment, from moment to moment to moment, and trusting the process, which is the opposite to thought. Because what does thought do? It obstructs and blocks that ability for you to be in the flow. So we can say that the root or origin of all illness is thought itself. Okay? So hydrogen is providing flow. Now the next part of this healing is to create a levitational response. Now levity, we all know levity is a force that opposes gravity, right? Gravity pushes things down, levity goes up. Now what's another word that we commonly connect to with spirituality and consciousness work that is all about another term of going up, and that's to ascend, ascension, right? So levity is providing higher vibration, gravity's lower vibration. Gravity is thought, levity is feel, right? Because there's another expression, right? Love heals all. Why does love heal all? Where does love come from? Does it come from, love is a thought? No, it's a feeling. And therefore it doesn't come from here, it comes from here. Why love heals all is because when we allow our heart to guide our process and we throw our energy, everything that we've got as an infinite consciousness through this pathway of our heart, increases the vibration of everything. Right? It's a levitational response. So levitation response means ascension, right? So we know that hydrogen is flow to create a process or a guidance of ascension. So therefore this timeline becomes a path of flow that is then providing an outcome, which is you to ascend. This is what this means. Okay, so let's do the clearing now. And I'd love to hear your comments below in regards to the clearing, what you felt by this. Okay, here we go. Now, for everybody watching and listening to this video, I want hydrogen to create a levitational response to all their timelines. And what I'm specifically focusing on is the branch timelines that is veering that individual off track, which means that that individual is facilitating their energy into a path that is only providing an outcome that is not going to allow that person to ascend. It's not in alignment with them. It's not in their highest good. It's caused through gravitational means, which is being guided through a thought process. So therefore, that individual can completely direct all of their energy as an infinite consciousness into providing their sacred timeline, a path, a journey, their future, which enables them to ascend because it's fully in alignment and for the highest good of that individual. So enable hydrogen to create a levitational response to all branch timelines, to retract those branch timelines, to reset the timeline for the individual to get them back on that sacred timeline. Okay, so that's done. I hope you really enjoyed this video, got some information and some wisdom from it. As I say, you can come back and use this clearing wherever need be. But if you are someone that wants to be enlightened, empowered for yourself or also for clients or loved ones, there is also the manifestation trio tensor rings that you can get at trulyholistic.net/products that provides that same effect that you can implement yourself and be empowered and enlightened in doing so. But if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel for further content like this. Please like this video because it does help with the algorithm so more people can see this and experience this very advanced and ascended information. Until next time.